Welcome, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, the twice a week sports podcast where myself, your host TJ, and the Grumpy Old Man speak about sports and shoot the shit. Now, Grumpy, they say he's always the same. What do they say about you, Grump?
There's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
There's no shame in his game because he's always the same. You figure we've been doing this for what, like 2-3 years now, Grump?
You figured you would know what to say. You figured you would know what to say.
Oh, man. But we're here live on a Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This show we do twice a week on Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're new to the show, we invite you to stick around, subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter. That being said, this Thursday, just with the holidays, we will not be having a podcast, but next Sunday, we will be back at it again. Grumpy, how are you this evening?
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Big slate of NFL games today. Some surprising results. Some more stupidity from coaches. A lot of good stuff.
Let's talk about that. The Arizona Cardinals dropped a game against the freaking Detroit Lions, Grumpy.
2 weeks ago, they were ticketed for the number one record in the NFC in a first-round playoff bye and home field throughout. And in the course of 2 short weeks, they might not even be leading their division. The Rams could be taking over the division lead.
Nuts, isn't it?
Yeah. I didn't think Arizona was that all they were cracked up to be honest with you. So it's not surprising for me. But you know what? Congrats to Detroit and your pal, Mr. Campbell. Yeah.
Dan Campbell, Grumpy. I was blown away that the Lions, I really, like one of those games where you see them like, okay, the Lions are up 10-0. Okay, the Lions are up 17-0. Alrighty, when is Arizona going to turn it on and go ahead and sweep this victory away?
Maybe next week.
Man, I'll tell you, I was shocked they struggled as mightily as they did. Think about the Lions, too. Without two running backs. They're without Swift. And they're without the backup. What's the backup's name? I can't remember his name.
Jamal Williams, I believe his name.
Jamal Williams. You're without the number one and number two running backs, organizational wise, and you still go ahead and pull off a victory. I mean, the defense did a hell of a job, right? They were in Kyler Murray's face all game long.
And Dan Campbell is the head coach, so go figure that out.
Well, let me ask you this: Dan Campbell, right? They are 2-11-1, I think, on the season. Have the Detroit Lions done enough? And has Dan Campbell done enough where you think that maybe Campbell deserves another year?
No. No. They'd have to win every other game down the stretch. I mean, okay, Jared Goff is your quarterback. You lost a couple of wide receivers. You lost your top two running backs. I mean, Swift's a huge loss. He should be back, supposedly. But they're still not a very good team. They're not good defensively. No, sorry. I don't even know how he got hired. You know that. I'm surprised he was even hired.
I'm as shocked as you were. But hey, man, I've always liked the energy. I hope this time around he does a little better. But Drew L said, hey, what's up, TJ Grump? Sorry couldn't tune in during the Hunters live stream. I was at the game. That Sorokin jersey set it back $277. Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh, buddy. Drew.
All right. Well, that's not a replica jersey. I'm going to tell you. But here's the thing. If you're going to buy a jersey, you want to buy a jersey from a player who's going to be on the team for a while. So good investment, Drew.
For certain. And the Jags are worse than the Lions. That is true, right? So the Jaguars now have the worst record in the NFL.
Yep, that's right. They're slotting it the number one pick once again. And what else happened this week in Jagland?
Well, Urban Meyer was canned. Urban Meyer's gone. I think we talked about that on Thursday because that happened, I think, before the podcast. But Urban Meyer's gone. And here you go. You're going to have another year where the Jags are going to have the number one overall pick in this year's upcoming draft. Now, if you're the Jags, what do? Are you drafting Thibodeau? Are you saying, hey, let's improve defense? Or are you trading back? The defense really hasn't been as big of an issue for the Jaguars this year as has been the lack of ability to move the football down the field.
They're Jaguars, not Jaguars. Okay, once
I'm
again,
not calling them Jaguars, Grump. I'm calling them Jaguars. Okay, Grumpy?
you said
So go ahead.
Jaguars.
Continue with your point.
My point is that I'm drafting best athlete available. I don't usually you can sell the number one pick in the draft. There's some stud quarterback at the top. Other than that, I don't think you're going to get the value by trading back, just because of the talent that's available at this point in time. If it was last year, they could have got a boatload for somebody to draft Trevor Lawrence, but there's no one like that this year in the NFL draft.
I'll tell you though, Lawrence hasn't looked good by any stretch of the imagination this season.
Their offensive line blows. Okay, they were run by a Mickey Mouse operation run by Urban Meyer. The kid's not to blame. To me, it's a write-off for him.
If you could trade back, let's say hypothetically, and you could go ahead and let's say there are, you know what you say, hey, there's no team, there's nobody up there that would give you, the value at the number one overall selection regarding a quarterback. I'll tell you, Grump, quarterbacks at this time period always get overdrafted, and they're going to just continue to climb up the board. I'm going to tell you that. The same thing happened with Kyler Murray. The same thing happened with Daniel Jones. The same thing happens with a lot of those. And Kyler Murray has panned out. But the same thing happens where a lot of quarterbacks get overdrafted because quarterback-hungry teams will say, I need the guy. I've looked at it, right? I've got, I've been told by ownership, hey, I've got 1 year left. I got to prove it, right? If I can go ahead and if I think Kenny Pickett or if I think, XYZ can go ahead and do the job.
Okay. Kenny Pickett is not going to go first overall in the draft. You give that up.
Okay, we'll see. You said he's not going to be top 10, Grump, and I told you you're going to be way off the mark on that one. I'm just saying quarterbacks get overdrafted. And all I'm going to tell you this is too, Grumpy. If you could trade back and accumulate some draft capital, you're good. Tell me the Giants wouldn't, if they find a quarterback that they like, they wouldn't trade up for a quarterback like that. They've got 2 picks that are going to be the top 10.
You don't have to trade up to number 1 to get Kenny Pickett.
Okay.
People are penciling
in the Lions as being interested in Kenny Pickett. So
number 2, I don't see that.
Okay. I'll tell you this, right? Once a quarterback's gone, he's gone. And what's the biggest need the Jags have? Offensive line, right? So what the hell is the point in drafting a Thibodeau or drafting a defensive end when in reality you need to improve your ability to pass block for Trevor Lawrence? So I'm like, I don't know. If I'm in their situation, I think you just run into the jackpot for the Jags. I mean, trade back if at all possible.
I just don't think they're going to get the value from trading back. Now, if I could see Detroit trading back if they have their heart set on Kenny Pickett, they could trade back and still get him. I mean,
okay. So you would then take it because they still have the Texans that are penciled at number 3. You think the Texans are going to say we are going to go another year without a quarterback? Do you think the Giants will say, oh yeah, we're going to go another year without a quarterback? You think the Carolina Panthers are going to go, oh yeah, we can go another year without a quarterback? How do you think that's all working, bro? Quarterbacks get overdrafted. Always, always, always.
Here's the thing. To be able to trade back, you have to have a player that somebody wants so desperately that they're willing to move up. I don't think there are any of those players right now. That's all I'm saying. Where you're going to give a quarterback value? Because for me, it's not worth trading the first pick in the draft to drop down to 15 and get maybe a 1 next year and a 2. To me, they have so many needs that you need to get a stud player. You need to get cornerstones if you're picking first in the draft.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to tell you, players get overdrafted and quarterbacks always slide up. They never slide down. Very rarely do quarterbacks ever slip. And if they're supposed to be, one of those top tier quarterbacks, they always get overdrafted, at least as of recent. Tony Cheese saying here, I thought I was late by 15 minutes, but apparently was only by 3.
Oh,
we're running a little early today. Maddie and the Jaguars. Grumpy.
Maddie and the Jaguars. I hate when people pronounce Jaguars. It just means they're very limited mentally.
You know what I think
it
is?
I in Jaguar.
You know what I think it is, Grumpy? You know what I think it is here for you, Grump?
I don't know, but you look pretty laid back in that chair over there.
I am laid back. I'm telling you, I'm not in the normal studio, Grump. I thought I already told you that. So I'm in a different studio. It's with the lighting's kind of not so great.
Yeah,
I
hey, I'm
had
sitting
to
in a
bring my mobile.
chair, just kind of
I had
rolling
to bring my
around.
mobile. I had to bring my mobile mic back when we first started. Grump, I used to use this mic, so I had to bring my mobile mic. Drew L saying here the Jags should trade back and get offensive, get linemen. Thibodeau may be nice, but the quarterback is the most important position to develop them. They need an offensive line and Treylon Burks. I'm just telling you, they should trade back. And hey, even if you drop back to 5, 6, 7, you can get yourself an Evan Neal. You can get yourself one of those cornerstones as an offensive line piece, and you can also pick up additional draft capital. Because if you're the Jags, you need about anything and everything. I'm
Okay,
sorry, Thibodeau is not the end all be all.
but you have to pay so much more to move up to number 1. I mean, I
Okay,
don't
there's
think
a
there's
lot.
any.
Think about how many teams that have 2 first-round picks, two picks in the first round this year, Rump.
Yeah, the Jets,
The
right?
Jets, the Giants, the Eagles.
Okay, the Jets are not moving up to number 1. They have their quarterback. I mean, the Giants, I don't know what they're planning on doing. Sounds like Russell Wilson might want to go there. It's such a long way to go yet. We don't know, right? There's still free agency. Jimmy Garoppolo, who all he does is win when he plays, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be available as a free agent.
Do you
And
think
who's
a
the other
team
team?
will say, yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, the guy who can't complete passes on a consistent basis, that's the guy we want?
What I'm saying is you're going to give up 2 first-round picks for where they could sit where they are. They don't need to trade up. If they want to get Kenny Pickett, they don't need to trade up. They'd be overdrafting him at 4. Haven't they been down that road before with number 7 pick for Daniel Jones?
You're so blind. You're so blind as to how the draft process works, man.
I know exactly how the draft process works.
Players always get overdrafted. Quarterbacks always get overdrafted. I can give you a laundry list of quarterbacks to get overdrafted every single year. Every year.
You're saying Kenny Pickett, who was maybe top 10, right? And now you're saying that he's going to be.
On. You said hold on. You told me he wasn't even top 10. You told me
I said maybe top 10. I said maybe top 10. Back-ended top 10.
Okay. All I'm going to tell you is if you're saying that now, what do quarterbacks do during the draft process? Do they fall down or they continue to climb?
Depends how they perform in the offseason workouts.
Yeah, so the guy who's taken off, he's had a fantastic year. Do you think he's going to come out and shit a brick, or do you think he's going to look okay? What's going on, Grumpy?
Nothing. So I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you talk.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I'm telling you, quarterbacks always get overdrafted. Always happens.
I just don't see anyone going up that high to get Kenny Pickett. I just don't. Where they can just sit in their spot and get him. Realistically,
quarterbacks always get overdrafted, man. Okay. I don't know why you don't see that. They always
realistically, what's the first logical landing spot for Kenny Pickett? First logical landing spot.
Number 2 Lions.
Number 2. So you think that Detroit would pick Kenny Pickett number 2 in the draft? I'm saying you're crazy. Not happening.
Okay.
I could see them
possibly. So what are the Lions going to do? What are the Lions going to do?
I don't know what the Lions are going to do. They got Dan Campbell as their head coach.
We're not going to draft a quarterback this year. We're happy with Jared Goff.
Maybe they are. He's still under contract for how many years? It's not like you just dump him.
Whew.
Then you got to find somebody to take Jared Goff and his contract off your hands.
Remember, all the signing bonus got accelerated to the Rams. Remember, the signing bonus of Matt Stafford got accelerated this last year to the Lions. They have a lot more cap flexibility after this next year to where it doesn't hurt them as much to buy out his contract or to dump him off.
You think they're just going to drop him and not have a veteran presence in that locker room for a rookie,
saying
right?
If they need, you said they got him for long term. If they need to drop him off 1 year, 2-3 years down the road, it's not as difficult for them to go ahead and do. They have flexibility with that.
Yeah, I just don't think they're going to draft a quarterback at number 2. Now they could possibly trade back and try to pick up some extra draft capital.
And you know what's also going to happen? Yeah, the Houston Texans are going to trade back because they don't need a quarterback either. Because I forget, every single year there's about 4 or 5 quarterback-hungry teams, and every single year they trade back because they say, our quarterback's going to be there if we wait to 10, 15. That always happens. I forgot. I'm sorry.
The Eagles did that last year. The Falcons did that last year. No, you keep on saying it doesn't happen. The Eagles and the Falcons did it last year. Same exact scenario. They traded back and didn't get a quarterback. They decided to go in a different direction.
No, they already had their quarterbacks. They already had their quarterbacks going to the draft. Jalen Hurts is already on the team.
Jalen Hurts was not penciled in as a starter. He was not penciled in as a starter.
Jalen Hurts is our guy. And who else is the other
guy? Now he is, but he's not much of a quarterback.
Who else is the other guy uses as an example?
Atlanta with Matt Ryan.
Are you telling me Atlanta doesn't need a quarterback?
They needed
You
one
think
last
Atlanta
year, and they
should just
traded
keep on
back.
throwing out Matt Ryan every year? Atlanta just
They
keep
traded
rolling
back,
out
right?
Matt Ryan?
But they traded back with San Francisco. San Francisco cooked the quarterback. They got Kyle Pitts. That's what happens. I mean,
So
not
the
everyone.
team that traded into a spot was trading up for a quarterback. Okay,
I
gotcha.
just think you're just kind of overestimating everyone's love for Kenny Pickett. That's all I think. And let's be truth be told, you're a Kenny Pickett fan because you love the University of Pittsburgh. So you're overrating him.
You're blind. You're blind, and you're completely oblivious to how the draft process works. You told
I
me
know
it wouldn't even be
exactly
a
how the
top 10
draft
pick.
process
You
works.
told me it wouldn't even be a top 10 pick last week. So I mean, it's laughable. We'll
He
continue
might
on.
not be a
Because,
top 10.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. When he's a top 10 pick, I'll just say, "Oh, remember that." Even if he's a top 5 pick, I'll just say, "Yeah, you really missed a mark on that one." Bro.
Yeah, he won't be a
That
top
being
5
said-
pick. He could potentially be a top 10, but he's not top 5.
Okay, you already said he wasn't a top 10 last week. Now we're teetering on possibly top 5. Quarterbacks always get overdrafted, whether they deserve so or not.
Yeah,
Some
he's
quarterbacks
gonna
pan
get
out overdrafted. Some quarterbacks are overdrafted and they don't deserve it. But we're going to get back to comments, Grump, because we've wasted 16 minutes talking about the this year's NFL draft, man. We got Warzone, senior citizen saying, Bellows will be benched next game. He looked too good on the ice, and Trotz needs the senior bums to play.
Yeah, I don't know what he has to do, honestly, to earn more time with Barry Trotz. Had an opportunity today, made the most of it, played the least amount of ice time, deserves more than what he got today.
Well, Tony Cheese says, how does David Attenborough pronounce Jaguar? I'd go with that one. It's Jaguars. That's how it's pronounced, Grumpy.
Yeah, Jaguars. Yeah. That's right.
Jaguars.
Oh, Jaguars? Maybe he pronounces Jaguars.
Jaguars.
It's Jaguars.
That's like I told you. So you could just sit there
and
keep
say Jaguar.
Keep on filling your head the whatever you want to.
Oh my
God!
Fill in
your head that there's not going to be a quarterback drafted in the top 10 this year. Keep filling your head with that, man.
Why don't you tell us how Anders Lee is better than Patrick Kane again? Why don't you go through that?
Okay. You're pathetic.
That'll end that conversation.
Pathetic. Drew L said, "Did you guys see Jake Fromm? He looked way better than Glennon in the 3 minutes that he played. Yeah, Glennon's miserable.
Yeah, I always liked Jake Fromm when he played for Georgia. He didn't go to the best situation in Buffalo. They don't run a system that's conducive to his style of quarterbacking. He had some type of kerfluffle going on also that I don't even remember, honestly, why he kind of dropped in the draft. But he's a guy, as far as I'm concerned, that should definitely I would like to see a little bit more of him if Daniel Jones not getting ready to go. Because you want to see, right, they just signed him last week also. So you want to see, does he have anything going forward? Is he someone who can maybe step in and provide Daniel Jones with some competition? I just think there are a lot of unknowns about that. But I play him the rest of the year. Why not? You know what you have in Daniel Jones. Mike Glennon is nothing.
See what Fromm can give you. Okay, you know what you have in Jake Fromm too? An absolute nothing. All three of those quarterbacks are not the answer. None of those quarterbacks are the answers. None of them. So what are the Giants going to do? If they could trade for a guy like Russell Wilson, he's not going to cost an arm and a leg. Fantastic. If they can't, they need to draft a quarterback. As simple as that. I don't know, Grumpy.
Well, they could have done it last year. They chose not to. And they chose not to.
How did that work out for him this year?
Well,
it's gonna cost Gettleman his job.
But the quarterbacks last year, but the quarterbacks
it's gonna cost Gettleman his job.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the quarterbacks last year were better off, were way better than the quarterback available this year. Mac Jones and Justin Fields, who were available when the Giants picked, were much better than Kenny Pickett.
Okay. That's the reason why Gettleman's going to lose his job this year, is because he didn't address the quarterback need. He thought that he could work with Daniel Jones. He drafted him, thought he can work with him, and he made a big miscalculation. That's why that guy's going to be out on the streets.
You don't just draft a quarterback because he's got a Q in front of his name.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Have you ever watched University of Pittsburgh play this year, Grumpy, or no?
Yeah, I did. I watched them live. I went to the ACC championship game. He was okay. Okay.
You watched one game. Okay, sounds good.
I saw him play.
Do you know the numbers he put up in that game? Do you know what the numbers he put up in that game to be okay?
I do not know.
Okay, yeah. So if he threw for 350 yards, that's an okay performance.
Yeah,
I can't even deal with it.
He missed a boatload of wide open receivers too.
Okay. Drew L said, coincidence tonight that Wallstrom had 2 points against Vegas. Bellows played good, sending him up to the top 6 as well.
Why not? Roll the dice. Whatever you're using hasn't worked all year. Play the young guys with Matt Barzell when he comes back and just see what happens. You just run 5 games with them and see what they do. 10 games. Give them the benefit of the doubt and say, you know what? Let's see what we have. They're going to have to do it sooner or later.
He also saying, Andrew L saying, by the way, TJ Grumpy, when's the next time you're going to stream? I'm most likely going to be here for a full stream because I'll be I'll be 30,000 feet in the air. Ooh.
I'm going to assume he's in an airplane.
Yeah, we will. The next time we'll stream the game because remember the Islanders are in the the Islanders and the Montreal Canadiens game was canceled. So the next Islander game, I guess, is against the Washington Capitals. Grumpy old man.
That's Thursday night is that Christmas?
Maybe it's Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve. I don't know if we'll be doing that. It's kind of close to it. So we might not do that one. It'll probably be after Christmas. So look for the first few games after Christmas.
Okay. And maybe it will be that Thursday, but I don't know.
I would say don't count on it. Don't count. Tony Cheese says TJ looks like a new stand-up comic trying to find out what looks natural on stage, and it's not working. You don't like him going like this and flopping us around all over the place.
Wait, do that one again. No,
I'm not doing that one again, you bastard.
Too late.
Yeah, Drew L said, TJ, I think you should be cheering at Jesus for Gettleman to get fired. Gettleman's fired. He's as good as gone, man. Gettleman is gone. He's gone.
And that's going to be
the team's in shambles, right? They say, oh, they're not healthy enough. I mean, that Barkley kid is, they're done. They need new blood. They need change of it.
You keep poo-pooing on Barkley. I don't understand.
I'm telling you, he's a home run back with. He shows certain times he shows fantastic ability. Other times he looks completely pedestrian. That's not what you need when you draft a freaking running back as a second overall pick. That guy has to be generational talent, first ballot Hall of Famer. If you draft a running back in the second overall selection, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Who was the first pick in that draft?
Couldn't tell you. Don't remember.
Okay. But there are damn few players as productive as Saquon Barkley has been for the Giants. That's all I'm going to say. He got injured. And he played behind a miserable offensive line, and he still put up good numbers. I still don't think he's 100% healthy. It takes, a year and a half to come back from ACL surgery?
No, thanks. No, thank you.
You mean, I don't know. To me, the kid was phenomenal till he got hurt. Phenomenal.
Okay. In that year's draft, you had Baker Mayfield go first overall.
Okay.
Nice. What a whiff on that one. Barkley goes second. Sam Darnold go third. You've got Denzel Ward, the corner from the Browns, go fourth. Bradley Chubb, go fifth. Quentin Nelson, go sixth. And Josh Allen, go seventh. A lot of good players go up early in that pick on that draft, Grumpy old man. I'm just telling you.
If you're doing a redraft now, Josh Allen's number one. Saquon Barkley's still number two.
Really? A guy who's got an injury-prone tag on him that hasn't rushed for more than 1,000 yards since 2019. That's your pick.
Okay, you saying who says he has an injury-prone tag to him?
That guy's banged up always, Grump. He's always banged up. You might as well just dub him Christian McCaffrey Jr.
Oh my God, he had one knee injury, which he was just coming back from last year.
Okay, gotcha. Right now he's averaging 42 rushing yards a game. He's freaking fantastic. Sign me up. If my running back rushing for 42 yards a game, sign me up, Grump. I'm sorry.
Giants' offense is miserable.
That he's an auxiliary piece. He's good if you have a lot of good pieces around him. That's what he is. He's not think about even Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott was much more successful than Barkley was through the early parts of his career. But look at Zeke Elliott now. He plays a freaking 1A, 1B back with Tony Pollard because guess what? They ain't that freaking good. I don't understand why we're not having a connection on this.
You're delusional. Your hatred for running backs. And I'm not saying you should draft a running back in the first round.
Running backs. I'm just telling you, drafting a running back in the top 5 is about the stupidest move you can make unless that guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Very rarely does it work out.
I just don't like how you absolutely dismiss Saquon Barkley, considering he was probably the player of the year in year 2 of his career. The player of the year. His first 2 years were outstanding for the NFL. Outstanding.
You mean year 1? He did. Okay. He only made the Pro Bowl 1 year. And his first year, he had more rushing yards and receiving yards than he did his second, third, or fourth. Okay.
Third year, he got hurt. And this is the fourth year.
No.
His first 2 years were good.
The second year, he had the ankle injury where he kept him out for 3 or 4 games. The third year, he got hurt, and he's been banged up this year. He's only played 9 games, 9 of the however many games they've been so far.
Yeah, he was still coming back from that knee injury.
Okay.
He was still coming back from the knee injury. Usually, I say next year you're going to find out about him. Here's the thing. Bottom line,
Okay.
Giants need offensive linemen. Maybe they should not waste their time drafting another quarterback and should get better offensive linemen.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. When you have Gettleman selecting offensive linemen like Andrew Thomas and Pete and guys in the first 3 rounds every single year and they're not panning out, there happens to be one finger that's drafting them all and happen to be pointing at one person. It's Gettleman. He's had picks in the top 5 with offensive linemen, and he's missed on them. I don't know what else to tell you, man. There's one finger that's the issue. It's Gettleman. That's all I got to say, man. That's all I got to say.
But they're going to have a new guy in charge, right? So, supposedly.
No, you were saying, hey, Gettleman doesn't deserve to be gone. I'm just saying Gettleman's going to be gone, and with Gettleman gone, they're going to find a new quarterback, and they're going to start from scratch. Giants fans, bad news for you guys. Just expect another full rebuild.
I just said that if Gettleman is gone, a new guy's going to come in, and who knows what he's going to see as the problem going forward. That's all I'm saying. You don't know.
Joe Judge needs to be gone too. So, but
I agree.
I digress. Yeah, Giants need offensive line in the worst way, and it's definitely concerning that you look at all the guys. What was it 2 years ago's draft? There were 4 or 5 offensive linemen that had really high ceiling. Right? You had Tristan Wirfs, you had Andrew Thomas, you had Dredrick Wills, you had a few of them, and I think Mekhi Becton. Right? Those are the 4 big. Those are the 4 big offensive linemen, and you happen to pick one of the least productive offensive linemen when you had the first offensive lineman off the board. I'm sorry, Gettleman. I mean, you can't be missing when you've got that for the first offensive lineman off the board. You pick the guy who's been the least successful, even though Mekhi Becton's been banged up and injured. I still would argue he's probably been a little better than Thomas.
Yeah, for me, the 2 New York teams were the teams that had picked the 2 worst ones.
Well,
Willis has been good.
It doesn't help. So, yeah,
Willis has been good with Cleveland, and Wirfs has been just about Pro Bowl level for Tampa.
Yep.
So, and Becton is hurt all the time. Maybe he's got the injury-prone tag on him.
A little different with offensive linemen and running backs. Running backs get hit every single play, and they carry the football. So they're going to have people hitting them in the knees. Offensive line's not like that. Different positions.
If you can't stay on the field, you got injury problems.
Different issues, different positions. Drew Ellis said, TJ, did you have Barkley or Zeke on your fantasy teams? No, I stay away from them like the Black Plague because of that reason. I do not go ahead and piss away a pick on a guy like that.
I think you had Barkley on one of your fantasy teams, did you not?
No, I did not.
Yeah,
no,
I think you did.
No, I didn't, Grumpy. I've never drafted Barkley, and I've never drafted Zeke for those reasons.
You were the same guys who I remember.
Rage.
You didn't want anyone to. You said there's no way I'm going to draft Jonathan Taylor, just a running back. Jonathan Taylor, he sucks. How's that panning out for you? When you were drafting,
what are you even talking about, Grumpy? I don't even know what you're talking about.
I didn't stutter.
It was so off of any sort of reality. It didn't really quite grasp.
Just talking about your fantasy teams and your lack of drafting powers when it comes to running backs.
Here's the thing. You were such a loser wanting to talk about fantasy football all the time, Grump. I don't even bother talking about it like that. And guess what? It's not the case. And you can keep living in your fantasy land. Keep living in your fantasy land all the time, Grump. Keep living over there. But
if I was living on fantasy land,
there was more football news that went on as well, Grumpy, because, hey, we're 30 minutes in. We're at the holidays. I'm with my family. I'm not around. So we're going to keep this relatively short. So we can't continue to have these inane back and forths with you talking about fantasy football of all items. So
if I really
Grump,
wanted to talk,
I want to show you, Grump. I want to show you right here. I don't know if you caught this during the game. The Jacksonville Jags, they had a guy on the field, a fan on the field. This is not Photoshop. This was a fan that was on the field when James Robinson scored and crossed the plane for a touchdown. How freaking nuts is that? It wasn't blown dead and just kind of meandering on about on the field in the end zone.
Well, when you're 2-11, security isn't what it used to be.
You're not kidding there. Well, 2-12 now, but man, oh man, I saw that and I was just like, that. You don't see that all that often, Grump.
You never see it. Only in Jacksonville. Maybe it was Urban Meyer. Maybe he went back on the field. I should still be coach.
I tell you, you still stick by your statement that you think Urban Meyer's going to be head coach in college football next season?
Not this season coming up.
I'm sorry, the year after. You think in 2023 he'll be head coach again?
Absolutely. If he wants to coach again, he absolutely be coaching again. No doubt about my mind.
Okay. I guess I disagree with you a bit. I just think his name has been tarnished so much. Now, this being said, to show that I'm fair and impartial, right? Barkley made a fantastic catch today. But this is what I mean. The guy shows glimpses, but in general, I need something more than a home run hidden running back. That's it. Now, this is a fantastic catch by Barkley, an absolutely miserable pass by Glennon, but I want you to watch this by Barkley. Holy hell. Honestly, Grump, I don't know how the hell he grabbed that. I will give it to talent of the player, but it's got to be those gloves have to have some sort of ridiculous stick on it as well. Because look at where he grabs this football, running the opposite direction. I don't know how the hell he caught that.
The kid's talented. And yeah, the gloves have something to do with it, but the kid is talented. I don't care who you are. If it's offensive lineman's drafting that, he's not catching that ball. The kid's talented. Okay. And then look at how many guys are on him in no time at all. Right? This is a screen pass. You're supposed to, everybody come up the field and you dump it off the running back and it's supposed to be cleared out on that side.
Stop. This is not a screen pass, right? I want you to take a look at this. You maybe have the tight end out blocking. All of the offensive linemen are within the pocket. That's not a screen pass.
I bet
there's not like it's a wide
receiver.
It's not like you see wide receiver screen or anything like that. It's not a screen pass.
And you have 4 Dallas defensive linemen past all the linemen. 4 of them. That's what it is. That's what it is. That pass is designed for him. That's what it is. Look at him. Where's the offensive linemen? They're all on their asses. All the Dallas defense is behind the line of scrimmage. All of it. And look, he still makes that's a borderline block in the back. And this kid misses. And then, the rest of the cavalry comes. I mean, I don't know what you expect this kid to do.
He gets brought down by one guy. Okay, Grumpy. Okay. You can get off your high horse. I know you're big on Barkley. I know you've always been big on Barkley.
I just don't like how you
drafting a running back in the top 5 is the biggest mismanagement of draft capital known to mankind. Biggest.
Okay.
In my opinion, drafting a running back in the first and a top 5 selection is like drafting a safety as a top 5 pick. It's that egregious.
Impact players are impact players. You draft the best player available.
He's an impact player. We go ahead and draft him a top 5 pick.
If Jim Brown was in the draft, you wouldn't pick him because, well, I don't care that he's the greatest rusher of all time. He's a running back, so I'm not picking him. Or Walter Payton or Emmitt Smith. Well, I'm not going to draft them because, well, they're running backs.
The game has changed. The game's changed, Grumpy.
Best talent gets drafted first. Talent is the most important thing. Talent.
How many more times am I going to tell you this? The game has changed, my man.
Talent.
That was a great throw by Mike Glennon. Drew L. also verifying it, Grum. Great throw.
Here's what Mike Glennon was trying to do. He was trying to show off Saquon Barkley's receiving abilities, and he did. Good job, Mike Glennon.
Oh, I want to show you this play as well. This is one of the wildest plays, I think, of the day in the NFL. You want to talk about just a bizarre play. You've got here the Bengals against the Denver Broncos.
Bengals, not Bengals.
Grumpy, I want you. You know what? If you had, I think if you had
walk like an Egyptian. Those are the Bengals. This is the Bengals.
You know what, Grumpy? I think if you had every single pick, top 5, I think you'd blow every single one of them on Saquon Barkley. Every single one of those, Grumpy. That's just the type of guy you are. But you've got here the Bengals, and they are on defense trying to stop the Denver Broncos from scoring. By the way, Teddy Bridgewater concussed again. Yikes! That was a rough injury he went out with. I mean, to be honest with you, he should never play football again. He should hang up.
I agree, 100% agree.
I don't know how many more times, like for the safety of the player, he's had a lot of concussion issues. He should hang up the cleats, in my opinion. Even though he plays every other, hit much.
He's had every injury known to man. He should hang him up.
Yes, he should hang it up. But I want you to watch this play back and forth. So this is Drew Lock back here at quarterback, and I want you to take a look at this and watch the bizarre play right here.
Down here. Take it away. He ripped it out of there.
So he gets strip sack fumble. And he fumbles the ball right back to the Broncos.
Were you running that in slow motion? Are you running that in slow? It looks like it's in slow motion.
No, it's not in slow motion.
Okay.
Look at this. Oh, loses the football.
but was Kareem down early is the question.
And he fumbled the ball right back. How nuts is that?
Balls on recovery.
Well, you get 1st and 10 from there. So
I was about to say, I just thought it was a crazy, hectic play. I figured you would get some enjoyment out of the nonsense that occurred of it.
that's typical Bengals, though, right? When something bad happens, when something good happens, you wind up doing something bad right after it. If that's not the Cincinnati Bengals, I don't know what is.
Good gracious, man. Good gracious. No doubt about it. Got additional comments here from Tony Shee saying, yellow flag, TJ. He used all of his picks on offensive linemen.
And Kenny Pickett.
No, I wouldn't pick
His
Kenny
pal
Pickett.
at Pittsburgh.
I wouldn't pick Kenny Pickett as a top 10 pick. I'm going to tell you, though, one team will. Quarterbacks always get drafted early. They always get overdrafted. The fact that you won't even acknowledge that happens is kind of scary.
I didn't say that. I never said that. I think he's not going number 1. You're saying they should trade down because somebody else would want Kenny Pickett at number 1. The Giants can sit at number 4 and get him if they want. They can.
And the Lions and the Texans are going to pass over him also.
So then you're saying he should be either 2 or 3. So you're saying a guy with that talent level should go 2, 3, or 4 in the draft. Okay, let's see.
Hold on. Limited talent level. Tell me how you really think. Have you ever really watched enough of his game? You watch a lot of this.
There's other guys more talented than he is in the draft. There are different positions. He's the most talented quarterback, and he will be the first quarterback taken. But here's the thing. You take the best player available. That's what you should do. If it's Kenny Pickett, great. But if it's not, the team.
I want you to hear me out on this. Quarterbacks consistently get overdrafted. So if you take the approach every single year of best player available, you're never going to draft a quarterback because there are always quarterback-hungry teams that will overdraft a quarterback even though he's not the best talent available. Therefore, henceforth, you will not be able to draft a quarterback with the best player available strategy. That's what I'm saying. Even though Kenny Pickett might not be the best talent available on the board, it's because he plays the quarterback position and quarterbacks get overdrafted that he will see an ascension of his draft stock. I'm telling you, that's how it works.
Yeah, I know how it works. I can't see Kenny Pickett going in the first 3 picks in the draft. Can't see it happening.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm not saying he should be. I'm just saying, well, it's a lot depends on him and how he plays. Drew Ellis said, flag on the Lions. They actually stole a wide receiver in the 3rd round. It looks to be a solid player for years to come. Amon-Ra St. Brown helped me in one of my fantasy leagues, he says.
Yeah, he's been putting up big numbers the tail end of this year. Good for him.
We had spoken about this fight, grumpy old man, between Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul all last week. We talked about it. I believe it was on Thursday, ?
Yes.
So we talked about how this big fight was going on. Tyron Woodley was ready to go ahead and take him down. He was going to get extra money if he knocked out Jake Paul. Jake Paul has a lot to prove. This is in round 6 of 8. I'll let you go ahead and watch this, Grumpy. Man, oh, man.
You know, guys, when a guy falls flat on his face, he's KO'd, knockout. That's not a TKO. That's a knockout.
Let me see if I can get a freeze frame of him knocking him out again. I tell you, he did get knocked the hell out, Grumpy. And Tyron Woodley said he's not going to retire from boxing. He's not going to stop his professional boxing career.
I'm sorry, Woodley, be smart. Just stop. Here's the thing.
You made a lot of money over these last few fights. Man, hang it up.
As far as I'm concerned, Woodley was courageous taking this fight. It was last minute. You know he was not in fighting shape. You know he was not. He wasn't training for a fight, and he was a last-minute fill-in for the Tyson Fury, the Fury kid.
Yeah, Fury's brother. Tyson Fury's brother.
Right.
Tom Fury's his name.
Yeah, and he was a last-minute fill-in. So you knew that he was coming in and not going to be ready. You just knew it. And unfortunately, he got knocked cold. He's just give it up. Unfortunately, the worst part was that big mouth Jake Paul got another win. I want to see him get destroyed.
He now made a post. He said, every boxer I've ever fought, I've knocked out. Because remember, he fought Nate Robinson, the old little small point guard back in the day. Nate the Great. He fought, I'm trying to remember who else. He fought Tyron Woodley, and he fought somebody else, some other hack. ham and egg, some other jag, some other ham and egger, and he knocked him out. And he's like, every single guy I fought, I've knocked out. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, Jesus, I wish he would step into the ring one time and just get his freaking lights knocked. I tell you, the internet would celebrate and joy. As long as he's not dead, the internet would celebrate that he would lose.
Yeah, he's a big mouth. I hate guys like that.
You know, like in wrestling, you know, they always have that one guy that you hate and you love to hate.
Heels.
This is your heel.
Yep.
Except in reality, he is who he portrays himself to be.
That's right. See, in wrestling, I kind of like the bad guys, always have. They're more entertaining than the good guys. But this guy's just a jerk.
Well, you'll be interested to hear, grumpy old man, that he's actually on the lookout for another opponent, for his next opponent, grumpy old man. Take a guess who he's looking to fight next.
Deron Williams?
No, not Tyron Williams.
Who else can't fight anymore?
He wants to fight Canelo Alvarez.
Ugh.
5'9" Canelo Alvarez. I'm just like, you've got to be shitting me, man. I'm sorry, dude. You know what? If you're going to fight somebody, I want you to see you fight somebody in a heavyweight division. I want to see you fight some 5'9" boxer. And again, I think Canelo would still probably beat the hell out of him. He's like, I hope you're training Canelo, with a little smirky face at him, because he wants to fight Canelo Alvarez.
Okay. What is the weight class that Jake Paul is in? Do you know?
I'll pull that up for us. But I can tell you one thing. I know Canelo Alvarez is small, 5'9" small.
Yeah, well, it's not height, it's weight. It's the weight class they're in. You know, if he's
I know.
I mean, I just don't know what the weight class is for Jake Paul or for Canelo, for that matter. So I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to say Jake Paul is in a higher weight class than Canelo is.
Jake Paul weighed 189.6 pounds.
Okay. And what's Canelo weigh? Like 150? I mean, that's a big difference in weight. I believe he was a middleweight, maybe a super middleweight. I mean,
he was 168 usually where he fought. So again, he's got about a good solid 21-pound advantage over him.
Well, that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight to be given up. Well, 168 and 180 is 12 pounds. But
no, he's 189, 189.6.
189. Okay. That's a lot of weight to be given up. A lot of weight. The height doesn't bother me. Here's the thing. Canelo knows how to fight. This kid does not. He does not know how to fight. I'm sorry, he doesn't. He can beat up statues or ex-point guards in the NBA. He's real good at that. Guys on the street when they're not looking. He's really good at that. But, I mean, this guy's a real professional. Yeah, Woodley. Woodley was totally finished when he fought him. Totally finished. You think he would have beat Woodley in his prime? No way.
Hell no. I just love that. Oh.
I'm surprised he didn't challenge Floyd Mayweather Jr. He's always looking for a paycheck.
Well, no, his brother fought Floyd Mayweather. His brother's the fool that fought Floyd Mayweather. And I think his brother had about a good solid 40 pounds over Floyd. Yeah.
And Floyd won, right?
No, it was it was just like an exhibition. So they didn't have an actual winner.
Okay.
You know that stuff goes. You know that type of stuff goes. Drew L says, TJ, don't get me started on this Jake Paul fight. Jake Paul's not a good boxer still. Yeah, for certain he's not a good boxer. Again, yikes. You talk about bad boxing. Did you see the Tyron Williams against Frank Gore fight? God almighty. Oh.
Okay. An ex-point guard against a running back.
That's all you need to know. Oh, man. Tony G saying Jake Paul is the perfect villain.
Yeah. Tyron Williams looked huge compared to Frank Gore. Huge.
Yes. I don't know how many classes Frank Gore was fighting up, but he definitely did not have the size or weight advantage.
There's a reason why they have weight classes, because it's really a hindrance. Weight, power of punch, all that stuff.
Listen to these people on social media. They're like, for all you basketball players that were always told by a football player that they were going to get smoked, this is what you'll use right here, that basketball players can beat up football players. I'm like, dude, I said, you picked the smallest son of a gun running back at the age of, what is he? Well, how old's Frank Gore? 38, 39 years old?
Upper 30s.
Freaking fight Tyron Williams? What?
Tyron Williams is pretty old too, though.
Oh.
But he's been training for a while, Tyron Williams has.
Dude, I'll tell you, it was rough to watch.
It's like saying, here's the thing. For all you basketball players who thought you could beat up anybody, Just put you in with a real fighter, you get your ass knocked out. That's what would happen.
Jeez, man.
Not
I'll
some
tell you.
scrubby brush salesman, a real fighter.
Some scrubby brush salesman. And Drew L said, yeah, Jake hasn't fought a boxer, UFC fighter, and boxers. Oh, he also fought the what you call? Fought the white guy, Erskine. Erskine went ahead and faked the knockout for Jake Paul. Do you remember that? The old UFC fighter, Dave Erskine.
No, I didn't even, like I said, I didn't even heard of Jake Paul until he was running his mouth prior to the last Woodley fight. I don't have time to be bothered with clowns like that. My life is more important to me.
Honestly, it'd be one of those things where like him being knocked out in the ring would put a whole bunch of joy in my life, Grumpy. It would.
I would laugh. I would find that funny.
Tony Cheese said, it's incredible that we're actually talking about boxing.
Yeah, nobody talks. Well, it's not really boxing, it's more entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't consider what they do boxing.
Jake Paul boxed for 7 years and still sucks. And then Frank Gore has wide neck and strong, but he was 5'9", and Deron Williams was 6'3". I was about to say he had a huge reach advantage over him too.
But what's the weight advantage too?
I'd have to pull that up.
That's the whole thing.
Deron Williams looked like he packed on a few pounds since his playing days.
He looked like he was like 240. I mean, he looked big. I was like,
Deron Williams weighed 211.
Deron Williams weighed 211?
Yes, 211.
And what did Gore weigh?
Gore weighed 209.6.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He looked.
I'm pretty sure he must have slept in a sauna. He went ahead and got as much weight as humanly possible, I guess.
Well, all things being equal, that 6 inches is a lot. At that, I didn't think that Deron Williams looked slim in the pictures that I saw. I thought Frank Gore looked slim.
I told you Frank Gore was skinnier than you thought. You're like, Frank Gore's packed on a whole bunch of weight. I'm telling you. I said, no. I can look at Frank Gore and say he hasn't packed on the weight.
I'm just
saying, told me I was wrong.
I'm saying he looked slim in comparison to Deron Williams. That's what I said.
Nick saying here, did you guys see the lacrosse goalie fight? No, I did not, Nick. If you patch us into that, we'll go ahead and look at that, Nick, if you show us that. But honestly, I thought Frank Gore at a certain points looked like he was a whack pack Beetlejuice out there. Ugh. I tell you.
He should never get in a ring again. Matter of fact, he shouldn't even buy his girlfriend a ring to get married. Nothing with rings. He shouldn't even he makes sure that he has a coaster because I don't want him putting a ring on his coffee table. No rings for Frank Gore. Oh,
goodness. Well, I told you, Deron Williams said he's not fighting ever again. He said, I'm going to leave this to professionals. I'm done. That being said, per sources, the NHL players, this has been confirmed here today, will not be participating in the Olympics. That's kind of what the NHLPA was talking and the NHL were hinting at for a while. It looks like that is completed. All NHL games that are cross-border games have been postponed until after the 23rd of December as of right now. So I know like the Islanders game tomorrow has been postponed. You're seeing a lot of those games that are being postponed for the cross-border games.
The whole thing is we kind of knew, you felt it was coming, right? You listened to some of the players early in the week saying, they were hedging on it already. And if the players didn't want to do it, the league certainly doesn't even want them doing it. So it works out well for the league. If they don't go, then you can fit some of these other games that have been canceled or postponed and fit them into that 2-week time frame.
We will talk about some of the responses from NHL general managers, players, kind of regarding some of these items here. But yep, all games, cross-border games through December 23rd have been postponed. So I wonder if we're going to see additional games postponed as well, or if they're going to stop here at this point.
Well, I just know that the protocols are different in the United States and Canada. So that was the easy first step, to be honest with you. So I think everything else is going to be dependent on positive tests and stuff like that.
And then Drew L said, speaking of fights, Kiefer Bellows said Max Pacioretty can't fight either. No, for certain they can't. I saw them. I was like, geez, Louise. That day.
Pacioretty got good position and jersey grip on Kiefer Bellows, and there was nothing Bellows could do. Just wait for the referees to step in and stop it.
Tony Cheese said, points for TJ in the Stern reference. I was about to say, who doesn't love Beetlejuice? I tell you.
Well, the Whack Pack. Beetlejuice and the Whack Pack. The Whack Pack is a Stern group.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, Beetlejuice. Beat. I always love those beat episodes. But before we continue, we got some crazy saves, crazy moments in the NHL, and as well as some other sports tidbits we're going to talk about. But, Grumpy, do you know what time it is, Grump?
It's ad time.
That's right. It's ad time with DraftKings. Football fans, I'm sure we all love an action-packed, high-scoring NFL game. But with the latest no-brainer from DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you'll be a winner once a single point is scored. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. It's that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still get in on all the NFL action. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot of millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN and bet just $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You must be 21 years or older in New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. A minimum of $5 deposit and $1 wagers required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Nice job. It almost looks like you kind of got it memorized now, just in time for them to change up the ad.
Yeah, what the heck was going on over there? Are you sprinkling something up over there, Grumpy?
I was drinking, having a little drink, taking a little drink, and I put myself on mute.
Oh,
shaking up my drink. See, listen, that's called shaking up my drink. Okay?
Oh, Jesus. The Drew L said, TJ and Grump, spell red. R-E-D.
B-L-U.
And then Tony Cheese said L-S-T-E-R.
Everyone was close. Everyone.
I was about to say, very, very close. But, Grump, now, did you happen to hear the comments that Steve Yzerman made about the testing currently for COVID protocol at the moment in the NHL?
I did. Why don't you let everyone know? Well, maybe we'll let Stevie Y speak for himself, perhaps.
I was about to say, I'm going to let Stevie Y speak for himself.
I'm not so sure, Bob. I don't know what the right thing is. At the end of the day, I think, and now I'm getting political, but at the end of the day, our players are testing positive with very little symptoms, if any symptoms at all. I don't see it as a threat to their health at this point. So I think it might take it a step further and question, why are we even testing for guys that have no symptoms?
Okay, thanks.
So, again, I'm sure that is not the agreement to what the NHL likes to hear. But Connor Huddlebuck also said, with the COVID protocols kind of going back in place, that a lot of families, a lot of people have been affected. People in the community gather around these games. It's not great that we're having to cancel all these items. Long story short, it seems like the players are kind of frustrated as well, that it looks like a lot of postponing of games is in the future. And, everybody in the Twitter comments is like, oh, I forgot where you have your medical degree from. So, it always degrades.
But here's the thing.
Further and further and further.
Yeah, but the ones in the Twitter comments, they don't have medical degrees either. I use common sense. For me, it's best case scenario. You're testing positive and you have no symptoms. What could be worse than, what could be better than that?
Frank Martin, I think he's the USC basketball coach, pretty kind of well. He said, right now, the rules we have put in place are still the same or very similar to what the rules were with COVID before they had vaccinations. He said, for people that have vaccines, and he was using himself as an example, he said, I've gotten COVID 2 times confirmed, and I've been, double vaccinated, and I've got my booster shot coming up here, but I've contracted COVID twice. And he's like, well, here it is. When I've contracted COVID and when our players have been contracting COVID, they haven't shown any symptoms. They've been vaccinated. And if I show it with no symptoms and I'm asymptomatic, I still have to get tested. And I've got to sit out for at least 10 days, even though I have no symptoms and I'm vaccinated. He said, obviously, it's a different story if you're not vaccinated. And if you have symptoms, obviously, it's way different. But I think you're seeing a lot of people in sports asking the question of, hey, if we've got our vaccines and if we're not showing symptoms, can we have some sort of different, return to play protocol to where I don't have to wait a week and a half to return back? You saw the NFL entertaining this idea also. And the reason we're bringing this up, because again, I don't like talking about this subject, but we're starting to see that change where the NFL had a plethora of different players test positive for COVID in a short time span. And now they're coming around to accepting the idea of, hey, if you've got the vaccine, if you receive it, as soon as we get the no test, you're good to go. Or they're kind of giving them a different return to play type of policy than it was prior is what they're working on, the NFL and the NFLPA. So it looks like that is starting to change a little bit also.
Players are just getting fed up. They're like, this is ridiculous. Before, people were getting sick. Now people aren't getting sick. I'm talking about NFL players, NHL players. They're really not getting sick. It's like, why are you testing me every day if I'm double vaccinated? And that's the whole thing. Exactly. Why are you? I mean, you're not, unless you're sick, how would you even know you have it? I mean, I don't know, but your body is doing its job.
I want to show you this, grumpy old man, this fantastic save by Malcolm Subban. Look at this. Kind of switching gears, still in hockey, though. He saved it with the backhand, with his glove hand behind him. Sprawling save to keep that out of the net. I tell you, when I watched that, I was in shock and awe that he kept that out of the net.
You're going to be hard pressed to find a better save this year than that one. I predict that will be the save of the year.
It should be. It's fantastic.
Well, the only thing is it's someone in Buffalo. So if it happened in Buffalo, did it really happen? I don't know.
It's like saying if a tree falls in the woods.
And if you don't hear a tree and if it falls in the woods, you don't hear it, did it really fall? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you. Now, speaking a little bit about the transfer portal, Bo Nix, I feel like he was, one of the most notable quarterbacks that were transferring this year, transferred to Oregon.
Interesting. That's an interesting move.
I think so, too. An East Coast boy, a Southern boy transferring here out west to Oregon. I guess he feels that, hey, he's one of the last pieces that could, be part of the puzzle for them and that he could really elevate his game and improve his draft stock. A guy who he came out as a true freshman, played well, and you really had high hopes for him to continue to progress. And it just has showed a little bit of a meandering there with the progression and his ability.
They lost their coach, though. It's going to be a whole new system. That's why I'm like, that's baffling to me. He doesn't know what system he's going into. He doesn't even know who the coach is. So I'm just like, I'm scratching my head on that one.
Or no, Oregon's head coach is Dan Lanning. He's the guy from guy from Bulldogs, Georgia Bulldogs, I think, right?
Okay. I don't know. I didn't even realize they had a new head coach yet.
Yeah, they had a new head coach as of Monday of last week. Okay. Yeah, he was at I believe he was at Georgia. Yeah. Or University of Alabama. He bounced around a whole bunch of places there, Grum.
But here's the thing. If they run Georgia's offense, did they have the right players in their system to run the Georgia offense? Because they play different out there, out in the West, and particularly at Oregon.
He was the outside linebacker coach at Georgia from 2019 until 2021. So I think, again, it has a lot to do with the offensive coordinator. I'm not sure who their offensive coordinator is.
Yeah. Are they going to change the offense? Is there all the rest of the coaches going to stay and just the new head coach? I don't know.
Joe Moorhead is still listed here as the offensive coordinator, I believe.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Did he just bolt to go to Akron? Maybe he took a head coach job. So I don't know. It is kind of odd, though. It is kind of odd with the coaching changes and everything like that going on. That is all I'm going to say.
All I'm going to say for Bo Nix.
Oregon, Kenny Dillingham.
Okay. Don't know who that is. But here's the thing. If you're somebody who's going in the transfer portal, you want to go to a school that has everything settled where you're the final piece. It just seems like everything's in a state of flux at Oregon. And it's just like any school that loses a big-time head coach. You don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it works out great. I hope it does for him. But still, you really don't know what kind of situation you're going into with a brand new head coach.
Well, now, grumpy old man, I think you've got some bad internet connection. This being said, Listen, Grumpy, we're having
Yes.
some internet issues. That being said, you talked about the instability with Oregon at the moment. Dillingham was the offensive coordinator from Florida State the last 2 seasons. So that's what you're looking at. So he must have had some sort of connection with them, must have spoken with them ahead of time, something along those lines. Must have felt comfortable. Again.
Okay. So now was the guy from Florida State, was he an offensive coordinator at Florida State?
Yes, he was.
Why would he go to Oregon?
Couldn't tell you. Maybe more money.
Lateral move? Okay.
Well, lateral move for more money. A lot of coaches do that these days. They want to take their money, man.
You think Oregon's going to pay more than Florida State? Okay. Maybe they will. Yes. Florida State's not afraid to spend money.
Oregon, yeah.
Never has been.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, right? They got outbid for Mario Cristobal, and I guarantee the new head coach they brought in was with less of a salary, so maybe they threw more shekels at the offensive coordinator. I don't know, Grumpy. I don't know the exact amount of money that everybody's receiving, but hey, man.
How was Florida State's offense this year? Not
good the last 2 years. So that's, again, I'm not saying it's a good move by Bo Nix. I'm just saying it's a move he made. Now, I want to show you that I think this was odd. Speaking about people kind of knowing when to step out when the time might be right, Paul Maurice stepped down as the head coach for the Winnipeg Jets. And I want you to listen to these statements he had. Kind of odd, and I want to ask your opinion on it, but I'll let you listen to it first.
I felt I had done well and done my best. And I truly do love these guys. And I'm looking at them going like one of your kids going, you need to fix something here. And it's me. I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm tremendously proud of the work that we've done here. And I get to stay that way. I'm not going to be looking back 2 months from now going, you knew you should have stepped aside and you didn't, and that's wrong. I get to at least feel I've done it right.
Let me ask you, what's your opinion on that?
Sounded burned out. Sounded like he's burned out.
Yep.
That's what it sounded like to me. Sounded like he just, you know what, need to step away. Maybe he didn't feel that he could give as much to the program as he used to.
He wasn't fully invested to the organization as he used to.
Yeah. Yep. And you know what? Kudos to him for stepping down. He's been a good coach in a number of places. So is he a, top 5 coach in the league? Probably not. Top 10? Yeah.
Christopher C. saying, TJ Grumpy, love to do backgrounds. Perfect for a Sunday show. I'm actually on the move. This is not the normal studio I'm in. The background hasn't changed permanently for Sundays, and Grump has guest/construction, I think he was saying, going on at his place, so it made it easier for him to be where he is.
Yes, the warden told me that if I'm to do a podcast when guests are here, I must do it not in my usual spot. So that's fine. I was banished by the warden. Banished.
Christopher always with the good anime. With the good anime he draws there, Grumpy.
I tell you what, that's fantastic. I can't do that.
Oh, I know you can't, Grumpy. Neither could I. Want to show you here. We got 2 little quick tidbits. So, have you ever seen the show Pawn Stars?
Pawn Stars?
Yes.
PAWN. Pawn Stars. Yes, I have seen it.
Why did you ask like 8 different ways?
I thought you said Pawn Stars.
Pawn Stars.
Okay. Yes, I've seen it. It's been a long time. Yeah, I don't know who that is.
That's one of the kids, right? And I want you to listen to this. They're talking about, and we always talk about sports, and you can tell they're not big soccer fans, but I always wonder, and I want you to listen to this, what they speak about of Christian Pulisic and what they compare him to. And I wonder if we were to change their roles, let's say they were talking about a hockey player and they were talking about even a baseball player, how knowledgeable they'd be if we'd hear some of the same exact things. I want you to listen to this portion, Grumpy.
So what do we got here? I have a signed Christian Pulisic jersey. Plays for Chelsea FC team in the Premier League.
This guy's like the phenom guy, right? He's like the LeBron James of soccer.
Definitely.
I gotta give him credit.
He's like the LeBron James of soccer, right?
Okay. You want some comparisons, right? In hockey, it'd be like saying, this is Josh Bailey. He is like the Wayne Gretzky of hockey.
It gets better. Don't you worry. So he compares him there to LeBron James. And I'll skim to the end because they talk a few more times. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, they mess up his position that he plays. This guy is supposed to be super fan. He goes on, I'm a huge super fan. Then they bring in the guy who authenticates it, make sure that hey, it's a real signature. I want you to listen to what he says about the Christian Pulisic character as well.
Players in the world, and he plays in England. He plays for Chelsea, and kid's 22 years old. So you imagine the talent this guy has. We think of guys like Messi or Ronaldo, and this kid's already being compared to all that.
We think of guys like Messi and Ronaldo, and this guy's already being compared to him. This is exactly like comparing Josh Bailey.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we think of guys like Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky, and he's already being compared to them. I mean, this guy comes off the freaking bench. He's not even a starter.
Okay. Look at this guy's face. He's like, I don't know about that. Maybe that's what he's saying.
Hey, hold on. This is the same guy who just said that, oh, yeah, this guy's one of the best players in the world. He's fantastic. I don't know, Grumpy. This guy was just, I think about like how little they know about sports. He's the LeBron James of soccer. He compared to the LeBron James of soccer, dude. It's pretty egregious, too.
No.
I guess you're comparing to LeBron James. You could compare him to Messi and freaking Ronaldo if you're saying he's in the same breath of LeBron James of soccer. God almighty.
So many American players have passed Christian Pulisic by in the last 2 years. He's all hype. He's always hurt. First of all, you're right. He's not even a starter at Chelsea. Chelsea's a really good team, but he's not even a full-time player for Chelsea.
Comes off on the bench, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to say we compare him, he's being compared to Messi and Ronaldo, and he's the LeBron James of soccer. Mother effer, are you kidding me? Those are all first ballot Hall of Famers.
Okay, it's true though. He is compared to Fran Messi and Sergio Ronaldo. Yes, that's true. Just not Lionel or Cristiano. That's all.
Christopher C saying here, Grumpy, from the way the Islanders are right now, are they somewhat like the Jags?
No.
I was about to say, we're much better than the Jags. The Jags are bad.
We have better organization.
Yeah, they're bad, man. Mm-hmm. But we're nowhere near that bad. So that happened. Now, I wanted to bring up, there was a recent sit-down. The first one, Cristiano and Sir Alex Ferguson had in a while. And the reason I want to ask you about this, one quick question. Sir Alex Ferguson planted the idea of Cristiano, one day you're going to be a coach. Now, let me ask you this. And he said in all seriousness, do you think Cristiano Ronaldo will ever coach soccer? Or will he be a guy like Wayne Gretzky? Did Wayne Gretzky try his hand at coaching? I always forget.
No.
Now, do you think he'll be a guy like Wayne who says, nope, I'm not even going to bother going in that realm. I'm the greatest that's ever been. I have no reason to possibly tarnish my name in a failed coaching stunt or a failed coaching portion. Do you think he'll ever try his hand at coaching or no way in hell?
Here's the thing you have to know about Cristiano Ronaldo. Not only is he supremely talented, he's like the hardest worker that there is as well. I could see him being a coach. I really could. You see him, even when he's on the pitch, particularly now, giving guys directions, telling them what to do. Even when he's with Portugal and he's out of a game or he's telling them what they need to do. I could definitely see him being a coach in the future. I don't think he'll ever be somebody who just says, okay, I'm done with my career. I'm going to sit back and relax. He doesn't strike me as that type of guy. Lionel Messi does, though. I don't see him coaching, but I could definitely see Cristiano Ronaldo coaching. I definitely could.
I just always wonder if they fail, does that tarnish the good name and the good works they had as a player?
No, absolutely not. They're two different entities, entirely different entities.
Okay. I always wanted to ask. But
Grumpy. He's a winner, too. He's a winner.
Grumpy, let me ask you, was there anything additionally you wanted to add into today's podcast before we wrap things up?
I just want to say just a couple of things. I want to say, since we're not going to be doing another podcast till next Sunday, I just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone who listens to this show. And once again, as I say, every single podcast, thank you everyone who listens and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Love and laughter always.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for spending our time this Sunday evening with myself and Grumpy. We always appreciate it, guys. Now, as Christmas rolls around, have a great time with family and friends, making long-lasting memories. Thank you guys for tuning in. We cannot wait to come back after Christmas. On that Sunday after Christmas, we'll be back at it again, talking everything in the world of sports. Until then, we're signing off. good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Have a great and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. And thank you, Grumpy Old Man.
My pleasure.